Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Inner Conquest, the world's greatest modern metaphysics channel. I'm your host, Jacob Edens, and today we are going to be discussing the concept of being buried and besieged. Very interesting stuff. So, what does that title mean, and what is today's video about? So, today's video is essentially about understanding the dynamics of this reality and how to overcome them. Okay? So, what you're dealing with, right, is a created reality. Now, if you think about a created reality, you could think about if you went into a video game, right? So say you made a video game and you and your friends got together and you're going to make this video game. And now think about the dynamics of a game creation, right? This is all hypothetical, but say you have three friends and you're like, what are we going to do today? It's like, well, let's create a game, okay? Now, when you create a game, what you have are objectives, events, ways to play against each other, etc., right? It's a game. So when you're making a game, if you make a game that you want to be crazy time, you want to make the craziest game of all time, what would you do? Well, you would create a game where you forgot who you were so much that you exclusively identified as the character in the game. So imagine having a VR headset and your game's in a VR type of thing, but the VR headset is glued to your head until the game is over. So you're obviously still you, but your entire perception is only of what's in the game, okay? When you come to reality, planet Earth, you are in an environment that is very unique, okay? The environment is such that you are in essentially an Iron Man human body suit, okay? So you inhabit this body. Well, how do you know that? Well, if you die, your body falls over and it's over for the body, but you're fine, okay? So when you understand the dynamic of the game, you understand that if you have a memory wipe, you don't know who you are, you only identify as a character in the game, you can be lied to that when your body dies, you die with it. That is the genesis point of all fear. Every fear stems from that. Why? Because your soul's eternal. So if your soul is under the false notion that when your body dies, you die, like if you're in a car and the second you step out of the car, your entire existence is over, you do everything you can to stay in the fucking car, okay? So the genesis point of all fear is that when your body dies, you die. No, you inhabit your body, and no, your eternal body is physical with hands and shit, and you're in this thing. Why do you think this thing's modeled the way it is? Because it's a mimicry of your actual body, okay? So if your body's fucked up, it's okay. It's not you. And that's important to understand. You're not fucked up, okay? This reality is designed from a gameplay standpoint to experience that which you are not. Meaning that if you go into a lucid dream, you can be in a lucid dream with physicality and you can go, I want an apple and I want $1 million, and they're in your hands and you can touch them, see, smell, and taste them. So if you can exist in an alternate dimensional frequency-based reality and still have physicality and influence through your will, this reality is also a reality. So those are core components of reality when thinking about yourself and interaction with reality itself. You are a consciousness, which is a dictator of reality. In essence, you are the creator of your reality, right? So when you think about how are you the creator of your reality, well, you have to understand frequencies in dimensional spaces. So when you tune in to a different reality, you are adjusting the oscillating frequency of the particles of your being, okay? So if I am somebody and they go, dude, that guy's always high vibe, what does that mean? It means I'm oscillating at a higher frequency. I'm faster. Everything is moving faster. That guy's got a super low, keyed down vibe. He's smooth as molasses. Frequencies are moving slow, like bass in a musician, right? So when you understand that the reality wipes your memory, it's designed to be the antithesis of what you are, right? So when you think about you and what a higher frequency would be, which would be like a lucid dream, you have things immediately. I want an apple. Bam, you have an apple. In this thing, because it's trying to essentially cultivate a game environment that makes you think you aren't who you are, so you can have the experience of being not who you actually are, which is a real trip, right? It's like undercover boss. It's like the boss going undercover as an employee for the day. The boss goes through all the shit, but the boss doesn't really have to go through the shit because he's still the boss. No matter what he goes through on the show, he's still the boss, right? So you have to understand that you're still the boss even if you go into undercover boss. And what is being the boss? The boss is being the penultimate version of yourself that can't get sick, can't have anything happen to their mind, can't really be affected. No matter what my character goes through in fucking Fortnite, I'm still gonna go get dinner later. You know what I mean? It has no effect on my actual essence in myself. It's never under siege, right? So when you are in this place, you forget a bunch of shit, you come into a fucking hellhole, and everybody else has forgotten who they are, and they also are thinking from the confinement of this realm, meaning you're not coming in with the context that you're in a body playing a game. You have a false assumption that the game is the reality, right? Which is, if you look at game design, really fucking impressive. Because if you are completely in the game, you're going to get out of this thing and be like, holy fuck, that was insane, right? So you can appreciate it from that standpoint. But the root of all suffering comes from, number one, not remembering your home, which is not this place. This is a venture. You're on a little excursion. You're on a fucking field trip for fun time in hell. Not to say that this place isn't really fun in some ways, but it's not the real reality, right? Fortnite's not the real reality. This is a confined, condensed experience, prismatic experience with limitations and templates which define the gameplay experience of the reality within which you inhabit. So in this reality, for whatever reason, you can't fucking fly, okay? That's fine, right? You got to drive a car and shit like that, which is cool because it matches the vibe, right? The essence of the thing, but it doesn't change who you are, right? Just because you're in a game doesn't mean that you are lessened or dampened. Now, when you train, right, in the gym, you can put on a weight vest. And so in many ways, this reality is a weight vest because, like, when you are in a higher key dimensional frequency of a lucid dream, you want an apple, you get an apple, right? Here you go, I want an apple. And then you go through the bridge of incidents, which essentially gives you an illusion of time, which is an illusion of separation. But you had the apple the second you had the apple in your hand. This rigmarole of a reality just tries to run you through the links in hopes that with combination of you forgetting your memory, you will succumb and become a slave to this reality. Meaning that you will essentially be enslaved to the external reality and create what you could call false gods out of things, right? Because your creative power exists here, but you have a memory wipe and you have a time delay. So you persist in something and it doesn't happen, and then you lose faith in your creative ability, which then you are now putting faith in the antithesis, which is, if your Christos ideology, right? If you take Neville Goddard lexicon, your Christ is your ideal, right? Your ideal gets buried, then it comes back to life. That's all time delay bullshit of this place, right? That's why you have to persist and stay loyal like a good little boy in this reality. But in higher keyed realities, you have direct correlative response to your mental faculty. That's why this place is so fucking stupid sometimes, right? Because you're like, I see a full bank balance, and then it's all this bullshit, beep, pop, 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 right? And that's why people get fed up with it. In combination with forgetting that they came into this place and that they're in a body, right? And that they have that ultimate power. They're just governed by the template and structure of this place. So when you have that dynamic, it cultivates fear because it's false evidence appearing real, meaning that you have faulty belief structures that you can die, that things like money have power over you, that somebody can dictate power over you. These are all illusions of this place for crazy fucked up game time, which is all fun and well. But if you're suffering in a perpetual loop of hell, you have to wake up, because it's the only thing that's going to fix that, right? So once you wake up and understand that, now you can start playing the game with more zest, because you understand the dynamics of the game. You understand that there's that stupid fucking time delay, and you also understand that you've had your memory wiped, so you're like drunk at a party, right? It's like having a bunch of drunk college kids, be so blacked out and being like, hey, you have to sign this or else, you're not going to get more beers, but the contract is really indentured servitude for life. You know what I mean? Shit like that, right? So you get spawn camped extremely hard in this game. But it turns out that you have the infinite potentiality to overcome anything and be anything that you want to be, and you're also infinitesimally stronger, smarter, and infinitesimally more capable than you ever thought you were, because you can assign those traits to yourself, because you can think and you can focus, which is your natural God-given right, which can never be taken away from you, because you are who you are, no matter the dynamic, ridiculous environment that you go into. So as you begin to understand your power is based in your conscious thinking mind and your ability to direct reality and command reality, not through a false sense of dominance or assertion, but through energy alignment and non-contradictory energy. You can self-perpetuate the people, places, and circumstances that you magnetize in your reality. So as you become more lucid in this place, which is aware, which is why everybody's like, raise your consciousness. Your consciousness gets buried under these false belief systems. And how do you know if it's a false belief system? Because it's a limit or a condition, right? So when you talk about unlimited, unconditional love, what you're talking about is power and potential, okay? Love is power and potential. It's not, goo goo gaga type shit. Ooh, Valentine's cards. That's an aspect of it. But love is power and potential. Love is the ability to create what you desire, for good or for evil. That's what love is, right? Your ability to have infinite power and potential to manifest unseen to seen, to cultivate the world around you. So when you are in essence with unconditional love, it means that you can directly use power and potential to create what you want. A condition is like a kink in the hose. Okay, that's why people talk about don't judge or whatever. It's not a moral thing. It's you put a kink in your power that is like a circuit breaker. I want this house, but I need the money first. See that? I want this house. Straight language. Words are comprised of spelling. The root word of spelling are spells. What is a spell? Valar Morghulis or Avada Kedavra, right? Why would you, at those words versus I love donuts, right? That's also a spell, right? Because that spell isn't have murderous intent in it, right? So understanding language structures and understanding that you are the operant power of utilizing language structures to cultivate narratives of reality that are then reflected and perpetuated into this fucking time delay place, gives you the knowledge that you need to reconstruct your internal environment on a wanted side of reality. Because everybody is unaware, they get programmed with dog shit, and then they perpetuate dog shit through their internal belief structure, which is essentially you putting yourself into a disadvantaged state of consciousness. A state of consciousness is a state of awareness. And the reason that you want to understand consciousness and awareness is because as you become from this end of the spectrum, reality dictates consciousness. Oh, I can't do this because of this. This is this, this is this, this is this, this is this. You get buried, okay? You get buried under all this stupid shit, okay? But you have unconditional love within you, which means you have power and potential within you that doesn't have a condition. And why doesn't it have a condition? Well, because what you think you become and what you focus on, you create more of. So that unconditional love is coming through you all the time, right? You have that power and potential to create whatever you want. But when you start conditioning it, putting, well, if this were this, if I had this health, or if this person would do this better, you kink up every hose. So now you're dealing with contrary beliefs that are going head to head and are cultivating resistance. And that is the root of suffering, right? Because you have no conscious awareness of why this is happening. You accept it more and more, and you begin to focus on it more and more, and you create more and more, and you start to think that you are the person who has this thing, and then you spiral out of control until you fucking crash, and then you reassess, and you keep crashing until you wake the fuck up, okay? But you don't have to crash anymore, right? You don't have to crash anymore. You can understand that the state of consciousness within which you dwell, which is essentially understanding that you exist beyond thought, emotion, person, place, or circumstance. You beyond all emotion, all thought, because you're in a fucking body, right? So you're not of this world, you're in this world, right? You're literally out of this world. So understanding these basic dynamics of this game give you the actual tactical ability to understand the framework of the reality within which you exist, which then allow you to use your mind and your focus accurately from a power position, from going from reality dictates consciousness, little old me bouncing around, to know I am the dictator of reality along with everybody else. Everybody's equal. We all dictate reality because we all have the ability to think and focus. And those are our creative faculties, right? And the creative process is you think, you focus, you create. You have contrast, which is essentially what you could consider a non-fulfillment reality or something that you don't want. And then if you play the game correctly, what you do is you go, oh, this contrast is good because if this exists, its vibrational counterpart exists, which means that a wanted version of this exists, which if I remind myself, I think and I focus. So if I think, I become. And then if I focus on, I create more. So all I got to do is put my thoughts in. I am the version that is in alignment with this new version of wanted, because this contrast creates its opposite because of the dualistic nature of this reality. So every time there's contrast, there's an opposite. And understanding that creative process gives me the ability to not linger in the contrast, but to recognize it as a creation genesis point for its opposite, which allows me to go through reality as an individual who is seeing the value of everything because it's creating my own internal heaven due to the polar opposite of what is being presented to me now. And as you begin to do that, you discipline yourself as well, because with this time delay, it's a persistence game in that you're pushing out your reality, right, from that internal state. And it's always your thoughts are preceding your external reality, but because of the memory wipe, you have a propensity to forget what you've been thinking. So it seems like it's random when you run into these circumstances, right? So as you begin to connect the dots of how you've been thinking and feeling and all of the different things as mirrors to that internal state of consciousness, now you can get your bearing, right? So first you have to understand the core truths, which are that you're a soul in the body, that this reality memory wipes you, that there's a time delay with all the shit going on internal to you. Then once you understand that basic framework, then you can start to identify the antithesis of the contrast in your life of what is not working. And then you can tell narrative stories as if that thing is the way that you want it to be, understanding that there's a time delay, so you don't look for validation immediately when you start to rehearse narratives and internal designs, because you understand that this whole thing's going to do its fucking thing where it jumps around and, does the little bridge of incidents, but who gives a fuck, because that's not your deal. That's just the game doing the game shit. You decide how you orchestrate and direct your life from that internal power position, understanding that what you persist in will be reflected outwards. And what that does is that liberates you from what you could call second cause or false gods, right? Oh, if I do this, then this thing can do. Nothing can give you anything. Nothing can help you, right? Why? Because you're the creator of your fucking reality. So if you give something power, that is the power. You gave it that thing. You say, no, this thing has to do this. You're saying that. You decided that. Your decision kills other potentialities. So when you kink your hose and then you get upset about things, but you're the one who kinked it, it's totally fine, because it's just you're just dealing with memory wipe and time delay shit. Nothing's wrong with you, right? You just came into a game where nobody knew what the fuck they were doing, and nobody took the time to look around and go, well, hold on one second. Well, how did all this shit get here? Some fucking dude thought of it, right? And you're some fucking dude or dudette. Nobody's better than you. Everybody's the same. Everybody's in the fucking game. Now, there are people who've been playing the game longer and they have a deck stacked, but who gives a fuck? Because you can think and become anything you want, so you can always just identify something as contrast and then immediately adopt the position from a narrative internal structure that this has already been solved the way that you want because you're the fucking dictator of reality, just like everybody else. So as you understand the game, now you can start playing it with some fucking fervor, right? We can stop worrying about 1SP or fucking, this thing. No, you're a fucking dominator, dude. You crush. So really double down on understanding those core truths and understanding the magnetic propensity of your ability to become shit through thinking and focusing. Because it's just thinking and focusing. It's just two things. So if you have a narrative in your mind that I think and focus on only things that are beneficial to me, and you just work on that shit, you'll program your whole subconscious to only think and focus on things as if they are the way that you want it to, because you understand that your internal mind is your blueprint workshop factory. That's why everything around you wants to fucking get in your mind. That's why the news wants to feed you narratives. That's why fucking everything wants to feed you some shit. But you don't ever have to accept it, because any internal state of consciousness that you dwell in gets expressed. So if everything's trying to get you to get into a fearful state, or everything's trying to get you to accept a story, why does it want you to accept that? Why is it so important that you accept that and agree with it? Because your compliance and acceptance with it creates that in your own individualized, localized reality. So once you stop eating fucking garbage from the external world and you start designing and dictating things as if you are the fucking director of your life, going, no, it's actually like this. This is how this thing works for me. And then the old awareness presents itself to you. That's all you have to overcome, is that old awareness, because of that fucking time delay, right? That is stupid. So if you understand that the time delay is it's like a fucking tidal wave coming back of your old thoughts and states, you can either get cast back out to sea and go through this process again, or you can hold your fucking ground, put a shield in the ground, and let all that shit fucking fly over you and just go, nope, it's actually like this. Nope, it's actually like this. Nope, it's actually like this. You weather that storm, and then the storm doesn't come back because you're not creating the storm through re-accepting it again. So as you get better at these internal dynamics of actually running your conscious operating system in harmony and alignment with core truths, you begin to be able to be an active, effective participant in the game from a co-creative standpoint. Because if you give a monkey a gun, the monkey's just going to shoot everything, right? And that's what happens if you don't remember who you are, you don't remember what the place is, you don't remember that you're in a body, you don't remember that you exist beyond this place, you don't remember that your mind is super fucking powerful, it's just this reality with the time delay and the memory wipe and all that shit. And once you can overcome those things, now you're able to effectively dominate and conquer reality. So with that being said, I love you guys. Have a great day. If you want to do coaching or anything, click the link tree. All of the options are there, and leave comments on the video, future videos you'd like to see. And more important than any of that, go conquer. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.